Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B. And joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk from Ghazghkull Ragnar. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Oh, what's up, man?
Yeah, Haspil's looking really happy in his picture on the webcast version of this podcast.
He is, unfortunately. He's back at the Shire reading books.
At a time before the coronavirus.
It's true.
Very sad.
It's been a crazy week. Last week, we got to talk about Iron Hands. We got to have Richard Siegler's interview. We got to kind of catch up on an unfortunate timing by GW on FAQs. And then this week, so much has happened. And I feel
we got an FAQ.
Yeah, and we got an FAQ. It's like, GW, thanks, man.
I seriously don't think they're that into it.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah, they're just going to put out shit when they got shit.
It's true. It's true.
I'm pretty sure.
The plan tonight is to cover these previews, Gamma, confirming Rob Baer's near perfect prediction score, like 98% prediction percentage.
I mostly just make shit up.
But you're almost always right. So we get to talk about that tonight. Talk about this new Tau FAQ. Tau got nerfed. Spoiler alert. Hard. Unplayable. You're going to have to wait 45 minutes to hear why, though.
Or just click the timestamps in the video and go listen to it.
Do not click on the table of contents.
They figured us out. Also, if you speed up this podcast / video to 1.5 or 2.0 speed, it will literally sound the same. Well, at least my voice. The other two, I don't know. Kenny gets a little high pitched. It's adorable. Well, Wyatt sounds very similar.
Sound like chipmunks. Alvin the chipmunks over here.
That's like a half an hour of time you just got back, y'all.
I'll just talk extra slow. It sounds normal.
To whom?
All right. Well, before we start the show, let's do our joke section. Would you rather's with Wyatt? Hold on. Would you rather's with Wyatt? Oh, that's alliteration practically.
There you go. Why didn't you think of that earlier?
I like mustard face better.
Wyatt's Would You Rather.
There you go. Would you rather never have to pay for food again, but it always comes out slightly burnt and way too salty, even for your taste? Or you never have to pay rent or a mortgage ever again, but your house is perpetually swelteringly hot or frigidly cold to the point of being very uncomfortable?
Burnt and salty. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta get clarifications. So even if I decide to move, this rent mortgage thing follows me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's your home.
I can't opt out of it and start paying mortgage now.
No.
That's my life forever. And the same thing with food.
Even if you cook it, it just magically happens to be that way when it's done.
Okay, so this is a magic scenario. Let me ask you another question. When it's sweltering hot, is it actually that hot, or do I just feel that hot by being at my house?
It's actually that hot.
And nothing I do can temper that. Like, if I put a fan under my desk, I will feel no coolness from it.
No.
Will my computer tower feel coolness from it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go with house rent free, and I'm just going to be naked all the time now.
I guess that's within the rules.
I mean, I can do normal things I would do when it's too hot or too cold still. Like, it's really cold and I put a jacket on. I'm not gonna die of hypothermia, but I'm just not gonna feel good.
Yeah. There's no way to like not be uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable, but I've got money back in my bank account. That's what I choose.
I'm a little bit different. I feel like
You already can't taste. God damn it! He's gonna pick the salty burnt food one.
That was an easy one. Yeah, I accidentally, purposefully always burn my food and probably salt it too much because nothing tastes the same for me.
But turns out when you don't have a sense of smell as a real affliction, it also affects your taste buds.
I think that is correct.
Which is why we don't give you Wagyu anymore.
The wording was even for your taste. So your level,
I'm used.
Yeah, but it would be too much even for you.
Well,
so everything would taste of the sea and fireplaces.
Yeah, but that'd only be like 3 times a day as opposed to being too cold or too hot all the time.
Yeah, that's why you get money back though. Like you get one of them is worth money. I'm willing to have to be compensated for my discomfort. Because when I go outside, it doesn't follow me outside.
So you're just gonna live outside?
No, I'm just gonna be a little bit more active than I used to be and be super happy about how much money I'm saving on rent.
Oh, I just realized an apocalyptic scenario to this. So if you were in fact homeless, the entire world would be either too hot or too cold because it's your home. So Kenny could just sell his house, be homeless, and destroy the world. It's what was that other one that we talked about? Putting a Chaos Space Marine inside of
Indian in a cupboard.
Yeah, they need a cupboard.
And then as soon as you turn the key, the existence of the chaos arcane powers comes in.
Yeah, that means all chaos exists now. Great job.
Huh.
Good one. Thank you.
I liked it.
Too easy for Rob.
He forgets of my afflictions.
But it's going to suck for you, but you did make a good point. It only sucks 3 times a day. Oh, yeah. Is water too burnt and too salty or just food?
It's food. The wording was food. Rules is written.
I know you wanted to go back and make it water too now. I
have to be decisive. I can't go back and change based on somebody being smart enough or whatever.
Yep. Well, I'm going to be rich as fuck, Rob.
I mean, we're all good at something, right?
I'm going to be here naked and gross and sweaty. Got to have a parka right there for when it randomly becomes too cold. Put it on, but naked still. Under the parka.
I feel like you just described pretty much your normal daily activities.
Yeah, I only put this shirt on.
Except for you're just going to have more money now.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it follow me to a RV experience if I want to go on vacation?
Only if you take up permanent residence in the RV.
Okay.
Which I would
sleep on a hammock.
Say 1 month. Because if you were just my permanent residence is this apartment, but I'm just going to stay in the RV. Well, it's you start living in the RV. That's going to be your home.
That's how they get you.
Nice. Rob, hit us with some previews, some gamma coverage.
I don't know, stuff. Well, let's do Tabletop Market Watch first, since that's relatively sudden. Coming out next week on the GW side of things is White Dwarf for March 2020. Now, I noticed they were doing this weird thing, and maybe somebody in chat could let me know, but I saw they put an issue number on it. Is this the first time they've had an issue number? Because it was issue 452, and I was because remember they rebooted and then they went to monthly and then they changed it all up. So I don't know.
So what did they? Can you not just go in your drawer of White Dwarfs and see?
Nah, I just stopped buying them. There's no point.
Don't you review them or something?
Every now and then when they're worth talking about, which hasn't been very much lately. Sorry.
Twitch Village Idiot from chat said 450 had an issue. 450 is where it switched.
Oh, okay. So I'm 2 months behind. Yeah, there you go. That's fair. Dope. Thank you for that. So White Dwarf, March 2020, issue 452, I believe, coming at you next week. Space Wolf's on the cover. I think they have an Index Astartes Space Wolves in there, but no new rules, just fluffage, which is always fun to read. The Sisters of Battle are getting their final release wave next week. Well, it'll be on pre-order this week and then come out next week. So you've got the Seraphim Squad for $55, the Repentia Squad for $50, the Immolator, which is like, I think a 3-sprue kit, if I recall correctly, $75. The special characters are the Dialogus, how do you say it, is $35. The Canoness is $35. The Imagined Fire is $30. And the Battle Sanctum is $110. That's the terrain piece with the big Celestine statue that kind of looks like the Statue of Liberty a little bit. And a little bit more curious is the price of the Rhino, which is $60. And some people have made the observation that the Rhino currently, the Razorback, which is just basically the existing Rhino from 2001 with an upgrade sprue, is, I believe it's $40 US. I haven't actually looked myself, but that sounds about right. I'm going to do it right now while I'm stalling and trying to lead off and pretend I'm not searching on the internet. But this kit, it's the same sprues from 2001 with an upgrade sprue as well. It's got some hatches. It's got a little decorative motifs here and there. The sprue does look like it's bigger than the Razorback sprue. But $60 as opposed to, what is it for? From GW, if I had to guess, I would say
I'm going to say $35.
Let's do it over under $35. What do you say, Wyatt?
45.
Did you look it up? It is 45.
No, I literally just guessed.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Good guess. So $45 from GW. I wonder how much the Rhino is.
I was thinking of the Rhino.
Itself.
I was commenting on the Rhino.
The Rhino is 45 as well. So Rhino or Razorback, $45.
I do know when I used to be a commission painter, I used to, back in the 5th edition days when everyone wanted Rhino chassis, I would usually talk them into, like, because I remember them being the same price now. And I remember saying, like, just get all Razorbacks and then just pay me extra to do the swaps. But they are missing one of the copulas to make it look like a Rhino. So if you do buy a Razorback, you will have to go in your bits drawer to cover one of those hatches up to make it look correct.
Oh,
so that is to my knowledge, the only real difference. But if you have a huge bits box, you should be fine. But so you're telling me the Sisters one is like another version of this, but they just jacked it up 15 more bucks?
Yes. Basically. Huh. Well,
standard GW, no worries. Nothing. That's barely newsworthy.
I mean, I think folks had a big opinion on it when the prices finally came out. Like, in some ways they do some really good things. In other ways, there's some trust issues. And I think they're kind of well, warranted by stuff like this. And, everybody will either just buy the bits. Like Hexy Store actually has Sisters upgrade bits for like $13. So if you already have a Rhino, which I feel like many of us do at this point, you just buy some $13 bits that will pretty much do the same thing. So I don't know. Vote with your hobby dollars. Do what you feel is right for your particular situation.
Yeah, under no circumstances I'm buying the $60 one and not the $45 one and just decorating it.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. So that's as far as like the new releases go. Now, if I had to guess, I would say GW has said that Saga of the Beast was going to come out in March. Now, released is kind of an ambiguous term when it comes to Games Workshop because they consider going on pre-order maybe a release. Remember Orktober? Because technically Orcs came out in October because it was on pre-order, but it wasn't actually delivered until November that year.
Orkvember. I remember
Orkvember. Yeah. So it's kind of an ambiguous term with GW when they say something will be released in a particular month. It could be put on pre-order in actuality. So just kind of keep that in mind. We don't know exactly what's going on with Adepticon, if there will be an Adepticon this year, if there won't be an Adepticon. But if I had to guess, I would say that whatever's coming out for Saga of the Beast will probably go on pre-order the 21st, which means it may actually come out the week of Adepticon, if there is an Adepticon. So might be kind of tough for some of us that create content to talk about it because we might be actually be at the event if it isn't canceled. But that being said, they could back it up a week. Who knows? The sky's pretty much the limit at this point. It's a brave new world out there. There's so much going on at the macro level of things. We just don't know at this point. I don't even know if GW knows. But long story short, lots of updates to 40K coming very soon, which brings us to the Gamma event out in Reno, Nevada on Monday. Well, actually, technically it's still going until today, but most of the reveals are already done. Games Workshop did, obviously gave us some really dope reveals early on in the morning from GW themselves with Ragnar and Ghazghkull, which we'll talk about more later on in the episode. But at Gamma, they revealed a lot of different things. Of course, they talked about War of the Spider. They showed what looks like a beefier new resculpt of the Fabius Bile.
It absolutely is Fabius Bile. Undoubtedly.
I also like how petty they were, where a bunch of people took like videos and pictures of the release. So on the Warhammer community release, which they pushed back instead of releasing it on time, they actually cut down the pictures to be even smaller and show even less because Games Workshop is a bunch of petty bitches.
Mm-hmm. So all we have is washed out slide pictures. But
no, they had a bunch of stills in the video that you could get.
It was this I think it was, they never showed you Fabius though. They showed you like a piece of him.
No, they show multiple pieces. I mean, you could see the Rotted Torment. You could see the Zyklus Needler. You could see his instruments on his flesh.
Wait, I thought you said it was all but certain to be Fabius. You sounded pretty certain that this is Fabius.
It's like saying those Mephiston pictures weren't Mephiston. Like it's probably Fabius.
You can't do it. He can't do it. He knows it's Fabius, but he every time he said it's probably still. Just say it's Fabius.
No. You're not my supervisor. Nah, it probably is, but
he's trying. He's like in liar. He can't do it. He fucking can't. I
can't lie. Now it was a good reveal. So they showed his little like hunchback assistant removing the prognoid gland of
Primaris,
of a fallen Primaris,
which is kind of a lot. And real quick, let's just talk about how you called this. You said War of the Spider. We got a sneak peek that we know this is coming out later this year. We're like, what's the spider? What's the spider? All the speculation. You're like, yeah, I think it's Fabius. Here we are.
I did say that.
Mm-hmm. And they did proudly show a clear ass production picture of his little assistant harvesting this gene seed.
Right.
Which is the only clear shot of the Fabius model, which to me is like, are they giving us the answer to the mystery? Like,
well, I think there's still a lot of sculpts out there. Remember, we haven't seen new World Eaters. We haven't seen new Emperor's Children, right? We've seen new Death Guard. We've seen new Chaos in general. We've seen new T-Sons. So, like, where's the love for the other two main legions, right? Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that's what it's about, because isn't that what Emperor's Children are all about? Is that whole
I want to put together a quick conspiracy theory based on William Stewart in the chat. New Chaos faction. Fabius's fucking Primaris division is Enhanced Warriors. And that's Chaos Primaris is going to be that legion.
Ooh, or because there's precedent for this, what if it's not like an entirely new faction, but they release a box set with like a mini dex, like they did the Shadow Spear Vanguard Primaris?
I think that's what might happen with Saga of the Beast. For the
talk about War of the Spider.
So War of the Spider, that's kind of interesting. Like, I think if anything, they're going to come out with new Emperor's Children models, because like I said, the precedent is there. We just don't have new World Eaters or Emperor's Children, and they're not gonna make new models for something else that isn't already existing. They're going to fill in those gaps first, and they basically owe us World Eaters and Emperor's Children, I feel like. So I could see where they go that way. Now, what the storyline is, they've been kind of alluding to some Fulgrim stuff. Maybe Fulgrim's going to be the big reveal at Adepticon. You know, we actually saw the first shots of Mortarion at Adepticon. We didn't see all of Mortarion until much later in the year, but we saw some of the shots of Mortarion at Adepticon in 2017. So maybe we'll see some spoilers of Fulgrim there. You know, that how that all ties into everything else. It's going to be really interesting because we're basically out of order. If this is Fabius, he doesn't neatly fit into the factions that still need rules for Psychic Awakening. So we the existing factions kind of all fit into this nice, neat little grouping where you could say the sisters, custodies, you know, they kind of go together ish.
Yeah, they've done Orcs and Space Wolves.
Well, that didn't quite make sense, but it's there now. At first. I mean, nobody, like, if we didn't know that there was something called Saga of the Beast coming out, nobody would have been like, okay.
I said okay.
It's wolves and orcs. Like, that's kind of off the wall, so to speak. Like, the only way you could even say that is that box set that came out in 2014, perhaps.
Yeah,
like,
everything I speak of is in reference to that box set.
Yeah.
My whole life is modeled around that release.
But like, there's a lot of like things going on to where like we could see like Sisters and Harlequins have a connection. We could see, you know, Custodies obviously and Sisters, and we know something else is coming out for Custodies and Sisters because the limited box set that came out, they got the keywords messed up, and they're like, hey, it's cool, we'll fix it later. It's something else big's coming. Like, all right, cool. Something else big's coming. So we know that they are probably going to be paired together in some way, maybe combined into Talons of the Emperor. Then you kind of start looking around at the rest of the factions. You're like, okay, I got a Death Watch here. I got some Xenos over here. Sure, stick that together. That makes sense. All right, cool. You know, but then you see Fabius, and you're like, how does he fit in with anything?
New Chaos faction. That's how. Conspiracy theory.
Or he could just be a free agent. You know,
that's what he is. That makes perfect sense. Free agent develops his own enhanced warrior legion based on his cloning and harvesting technology.
Maybe we should put it to a Facebook vote. See which one people think is more likely to happen.
Conspiracy theories don't have to be likely.
It's true. The truth is out there. The truth is out there. I don't know. Either way, something big is getting led up to. I can tell you that right now. Something bigger than big. Oh, hopefully we find out.
Speaking of big,
hit me.
No, I was like, that was your segue to talk about Ghazghkull.
Hold on, let me check my notes. Yep.
Yes.
Ghazghkull.
Speaking of girth.
How big do you think he is?
Size of a Hellbrute.
Yeah, I think he's on a 60.
I think he's the same size as a Hellbrute.
Nah, he's not on a 60.
What do you think he's on?
Like an 80-ish.
Bigger than a 60?
Yeah, I think so.
So you think he's bigger than a Hellbrute?
I think he's bigger than a Dreadnought, yeah.
Fuck, yes.
That would be cool. My guess is 60.
I 100% am now. I'm going to go with 80 because that's what I want.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be dope if he was that big. I'm just going off of the picture they showed of all of the models together. And it shows him in reference to Ragnar and Knobs and Primaris infiltrators and stuff. And he looks like he's on a 60.
I mean, there's some angles where it does look like that, but there's some where it looks a little bigger. And to be honest, there really isn't a whole lot of models on the plastic side of GW that are 80 mil bases. So, I mean, you could make the argument that they like to have multiple uses for their bases once they come out. They don't just make them for one or two things. So I could see where they might put them on that. I think 100 might be too big, and there's a lot of stuff on hundreds right now. But it's kind of too early in the game without more previews. But fortunately, they like to dump the super hot previews out towards the end of the weeks. So I would imagine we're going to start seeing some more on these two here very shortly.
So everyone has obviously seen the pictures of Ragnar and Ghazghkull, them playing tennis, doing all sorts of cool things, all sorts of awesome memes and pictures. Wyatt, how you feel about these sculpts?
I like him. I like Ragnar's sculpt a lot. I would say of the two, he's the better one because sculpt is really good. The face looks great, and they actually got a really good composition going for the entire model. Ghazghkull is like a 9 out of 10 because the model is amazing, but the composition, it looks off. Like it's not quite there. Like they fumbled at the 1 yard line on the composition of the model. And I have heard that there might be multiple poses, like multiple ways to build Ghazghkull, but it's unconfirmed, so we'll see. I feel like what I want to do when I buy it is not really like change anything aesthetically about the model because it looks amazing, but just maybe change the composition a little bit.
I get with that. GW, the only thing they do fumble is composition when it comes to models these days because the quality is preposterous. His quality is incredible. The girth is weighty and immense. But I'm with you a little bit there. I'm a little bit more disappointed with Ragnar, not in any way that's aesthetic. It's just that, like, how much can you really do with a Primaris guy, And so, in my opinion, they did it. They nailed it. They nailed it with a really action pose. He feels like he's in motion. That's one of the best faces I've seen on a plastic in a long time. So, I am very happy. But, I'm attracted to girth, and that Ghazghkull model is
super girthy.
Rob, how do you feel about it?
I don't have anything else to say about it.
You don't care about them?
No, I think they look good. I just want to see more pictures, personally.
You want to post those pictures on the internet and write an article about them?
I would never do that.
Okay, so here's the next thing. How much is that going to cost us? What's speculation? How much is it going to cost me to get my Ghazghkull, Rob?
I think if it comes out in a box set, like a starter box set, and if it's like $230, like the Blooded Phoenix was for Eldars, I would suspect that early on, Gaz is going to go for around $80 on eBay. I imagine if he is on an 80 mil base, he'll probably end up being somewhere around $50-$60 for the character. When it comes out separately, of course, 6 months from now or whatever, like they do. But I could see Ragnar going for a little bit less. Maybe 35, 40-ish, pretty much consistently. But I think people might be more interested in new units if that's the case. As far as like new orc units, if there are some new orc units in.
People were trying to convince me that there was going to be new orc boys.
I don't know about boys, but I could definitely see the commandos. Seems about the only thing that's like left.
They really should do new orc boys. Like everything else is fine. Like the boys is the problem. Like when the bread and butter of your model line is like over a decade old and it really shows, like that's what you need to update. Like stop updating like weird support units.
The one unit in your army that can only have 5 models. Fucking stop it.
Yeah. Like please, just new boys.
And we see, there's sketches out there of some Devastator shoulder-mounted Primaris duders that may or may not be a thing. So that'd be cool to see how they fit into like the whole dynamic. But
maybe some new long things.
What's that?
Maybe some new long things.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's gonna get like some shoulder-mounted, like dope Devastator-looking models,
oh my god,
it'd definitely be Space Wolves.
Space Wolf Longfangs. Or Primaris Longfangs?
Devies, yeah.
Yo, I would literally do a lot of fucked up shit to get my hands on that.
It's going to become a commodity. Things Kenny would do.
I mean, shit, I once blew a homeless guy. Sorry. I once had cardinal knowledge of a bohemian gentleman for a night codex. Keep it classy. What else, Rob?
Yes. I don't know. What do we talk about? Oh, new Titanicus. This is probably the best segment of the show.
Yeah.
Titan Watch 2020.
Titan Watch.
Tiny Titan watch. New Titans on the way. We got some Cerastus Knights were shown off. The was the Acheron and the Castigator. So there's already the Lancer kit. Hopefully they'll come in a combined box set. I would be super stoked for that. Currently, it's just the generic Cerastus Knight box for Titanic.
Sriracha Knight.
Which, the what?
Every time you
Sriracha?
say that, I think you're saying Sriracha.
That's yours sounds better.
The hot sauce Knight.
The hot sauce
Yeah,
Knight.
I mean, we've got
got
Dorito Dreadnoughts. Why not?
Yeah, Doritos and chili sauce.
Titans, yeah.
And the Porphyrion is an angry turtle.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you're right. So that would be cool to see if it came in like a 3-pack, or maybe it was a 2-pack, but you could assemble them however you want. That would be pretty cool to see. They also showed that there would be a new book coming out as well. Yes, another Titan expansion. There was
That's like literally all that is holding me back from playing that game. It's just I need another book.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing.
That's it.
I don't know. What if there was like some sick, nasty Chaos Knights or Chaos Titans?
Look, I understand the allure. Of course, I would need those. Like, obviously, I would need to buy them all. You're right. God damn it. So you give me some Chaos Knights, I'm in. I'm in.
Cool.
I see your point now. It's amazing. I love Titanicus.
Yeah. Anyways, so on the cover, they probably foreshadowed some new kits that would be coming out to the Forge World Questoris upgrades. I think it's the Megara and the Styrex, which currently have kits and are on the cover of the book, but don't have models. Dun dun dun.
Wait, you can play T-Rex.
You just said they have kits, but no models.
They have Forge World full-size kits for 40K is what I should say. But no
okay. So they have,
Titanicus.
You know, I always forget that.
Which faction gets T-Rexes? I'm interested now.
Yeah, what's the T-Rex? What's the T-Rex?
Yeah, can I like literally play a T-Rex? Because
T-Rex.
now I want to do robots.
T-Rex.
Skrillex.
The Skrillex.
Yes.
Skrillex. Oh, the
We
Skrillex
came there
right
at the same time. We came together.
Why do you guys destroy everything I love?
Because it's dumb.
You're dumb.
You're dumb. Welcome to our kindergarten podcast.
Let's talk about some poop. Jeez. I mean, Gamma had some great previews. They had some Necromunda stuff as well. New pointy elves. They showed the crazy looking airbender dude.
That meditating person.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a monkey monk kind of type thing. Like, I like their whole aesthetic. It doesn't. I don't like it enough to buy some, but I could definitely see.
That's an AOS mode, though, right?
Guy, he looks really fun.
See, AOS has I mean, those are the sickest plastics in the game. Like, that's all I give a shit about Age of Sigmar. Is these incredible plastic models they make that are just so fantastic, like fantasy fantastic, you know, not like the best, you know, like that model is just so fucking interesting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they've done that time and time again. It's like a test bed for like how ludicrous of a model can we make to flex our dick size on the plastic scene.
I mean, they're literally rebuilding their whole like world, the whole fluff behind it, and they had to do it twice because the initial launch of Age of Sigmar pretty much crash and burn. So then they had to build it up and be more reasonable and like kind of work in some of the classic stuff. And I think they're doing a good job at it now. But let's be real: 5 years ago when Sigmar came out, it was a dumpster fire. And the effects were very far-reaching and felt for a number of months, both retail and on the internet. But hopefully that never happens again. So there's lots of dope stuff out there. The new Necromunda, they obviously have a plan, a roadmap for each quarter. They're going to be getting a new update. I think Asher's is this quarter's new updates. Some great-looking models all across the board. I think they showed some Caldor, some Enforcers, the lady with her Cyber Mastiff dog, and she's got like a variant variant like face mask that kind of looks like Star-Lord. Looks pretty dope. What else did they show off at Gamma? I think that was the big stuff. Necromunda, Sister releases Gaz. I'm just waiting more on Gaz. Like, how many wounds is he? How many points? Ragnar, all that stuff. Inquiring minds want to know.
Wounds would be a big one. Like, can you shoot at him all the time?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, good saves.
Do you remember when he used to have a 2-up invulnerable when he wad?
That was so good. Like you couldn't kill him back in those days.
He fucked. He also had that headbutt attack.
Oh yeah, it was like a battle cannon strength headbutt or something like that.
Yeah, straight fucking. God, what's that disease people get? Their discs.
Coronavirus.
Degenerative disc disease.
Oh, okay.
That's not good.
You instantly have that for the rest of your life if you survive one headbutt from him. And coronavirus.
Yeah, and that for sure.
I acknowledge the timing of your joke, Wyatt. That was good.
I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but there was some big, interesting news on the Fantasy Flight Asmodee front. They announced price hikes. They weren't that bad. They're like 10 to 20%, like maybe $5 to $10 on a lot of items across some of their core items, which I think it was a list of like 30 or so. You can check out the full list over on Spiky Bits. But maybe more importantly is the fact that they also announced around the same time that they were forming their own direct sales, their own trade sales, so to speak, distribution, but also having a secondary distributor of ACD, which is another one of the major distributors out there here in America. But apparently their contract with Alliance as their exclusive distributor runs out in a couple of months. So they're basically like, hey, thanks. We're going to go with these other guys as their secondary. We're going to do the primary. So stores, and there's a little talk about some freight charges to stores, maybe potentially some different pricing, either up or down. They haven't really specified yet. So there's big changes on the way for stores sourcing their FFG and Asmodee games. Obviously some price changes too. So check out that list, see if there's anything on there you wanted. I know the big one for Tabletop was Star Wars Legion starter was going up, I think, to the $100 level that the Clone Wars one is. So you may be able to find those still a little bit more reasonable. I think until the price hikes come into effect April 30th, I want to say it was. And then there was an awesome review. I don't know if you guys had time to watch it because it was 23 minutes long, but The Death of Hope, part 1. Fan made one man show, fan made film for basically the most brutalist look at the Grimdark 40K came out, and it's definitely worth watching. It's slightly disturbing at some parts, but overall, I think people really liked it.
I did see it. It was really cool. I really don't have anything negative to say about it. Other than I was kind of expecting what
Wyatt doesn't have a salty remark.
No, I mean it's coming. I mean, so I was a little disappointed because his trailer that he made, like I think like a year ago almost, was like hype to the nines, like battling and Space Marines duking it out and like explosions and dreadnoughts and like all this crazy shit, right?
Yep. And
kind of what we got was like 20 minutes of talking in a haunted house in space.
Yes.
So it was beautiful. I think he has a great eye for the design, like his vision of what it's like to be on a ship that's in the warp with no Geller fields.
Right.
And the sort of like Jacob's Ladder looking demons as they were walking around, like really bringing the Neverborn into, a visual reality. Like it was really, really cool. So like, I'm excited for what's coming next, but I was like out the gate, I was like, oh, okay, we waited a year for this. Like I expected some more like hype Space Marine fighting because that's kind of what he sold us on.
He did mention that he kind of went back to the drawing board and made it more of his direct vision of the current state of the Heresy novels and kind of a little bit darker, I think. So he did go in. I agree with you. His first two like trailers, so to speak, like the first trailer, you don't realize that watching it at first, but like it's told from the perspective of the citizens of Monarchia, the word bearers, one of the word bearers planets where the
Monarchia.
Yeah, there you go. So the whole premise is the Ultramarines come in, they level the city, they probably kill a bunch of people, but the Emperor made them do it. And then the Emperor shows up and he basically makes the whole World Bears Legion kneel psychically.
Are you saying that the Ultramarines were just following orders?
Yes.
They're pretty good at that. They're like the best Space Marines. Canonically. Suck it, chat.
So then the one Wyatt was talking about where it's just like straight like bank heist video of just.
Oh, dude, like the one scene that always stuck with me was when the Terminators are like striding forward and he's like, one guy, he kind of like gently pushes that lady behind him and you can see the bolt rounds like explode on their invul saves and like it was so fucking cool. And then like the one Space Marine captain goes in there like Achilles and just starts cutting fools up.
Yep.
Like, I expected that. And so maybe my expectations were a little too high. So that was like definitely a hype trailer and I got hyped, maybe a little too hyped. So I'm super excited. I mean, like the first episode of Hell's Reach was kind of boring, and then like as it went on, it got like amazing.
Right.
So,
it's it's interesting, like how it's all kind of coming together. Those were the teasers, maybe a prelude. I don't know. He's got depth. He's definitely got depth, and he's got vision, and he's obviously got the skills. And I feel like 23 minutes, like basically short. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a short, right?
Short film.
It's not a trailer.
23 minutes of animation, even computer animation, is a ridiculous amount of work.
I mean, by festival conditions, that's a short film. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, like, I feel like in a year's time, he's crushed it. Like, personally, like, get a Patreon. Like, I want to throw you $5 a month. Like,
like support this dude because I want to see more.
Exactly.
You gotta support those artists. I mean, like we're about to get episode 5 of Astartes after a pretty long wait, and I mean, like
hijack.
I think like the wish list, like the dream team, right? It would be like Richard Boylan writing because he gets the story, he gets it, right? And then we'd have I'm sorry if I don't remember his name, but the guy who did Astartes, he would be like cinematographer, storyboard, because
I don't know if he's actually said his name, to be honest.
But like when you watch that, like the way that everything moves and the shot composition and the timing, it's all like amazing and perfect, and like he gets it and it's super dope. And then we just let Death of Hope guy, again, sorry I don't remember your name, let him be like the visual designer, so he can do like the visuals of what everything looks like and like the set design, for lack of a better term, and all that kind of stuff. And then that would be like the penultimate 40K series or movie or what have you.
Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty dope to see.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. The Kickstarter, the Secret Weapon Minis HD basis Kickstarter is officially out and funded. I think they funded within the first 24 hours. They've unlocked some new.
They've got lots more to unlock. Like there's a lava base theme that we got to unlock still. Oh,
that one looks fresh.
God, I need it. Fuck. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've had them in my hands for some time. So is Rob. I've got a few more. I'm gonna send it as samples and a round of gift bags on Monday. They're dope. It's worth it.
I like how desperate you sound when that you're going to be like the first person to get them. So you're going to have them like months and months before everybody else.
Not if it doesn't unlock.
Oh, it'll unlock.
Like they need $25,000 to unlock. It's like, I don't know how close they are to that. It was like 10K.
I have a simple solution to that. Just give them $25,000.
That's not as simple as it sounds, sir. I'm going to need to take a loan out.
Dude, it's a business expense. You can write it off.
Oh yeah, yeah. I need them, but if they do unlock, definitely you're right. I'm gonna have them. They're fucking sick. I can't wait. But is that it for Tabletop Marketplace and Gamma?
I think for the most part, that is. There was a new Warhammer Underworlds warband too, but if you're into that, you've probably already heard about it by this point.
You're going to talk about it if we have to talk about Titanicus every time.
The Lady Elves.
They're done. We talked about it.
God.
Marathi, man.
New Underworlds.
.com.
Let's talk about this earth-shattering, game-changing FAQ.
Can we call it a tickler?
The tickler, little section.
Yeah, I mean, there was only real two, I'll say three, three rules changes, two of which have to do with Tau. Everything else is simply clarifications. So they clarified that prototype weapon systems are basically relics, which they shouldn't have had to. All they had to say was prototype weapon systems function the same way relics do. Everybody would have understood that. But they were just like, yep, you can't have duplicate prototype weapon systems. And to get more of them, you have to, use the stratagem to get an additional relic. It's the same thing. They did change modulated weaponry, which is one of the new stratagems. And they made it keyword specific to Riptides, Ghazghkulls, and non-Titanic vehicles, which is a change because it was Sept units, excluding Titanic models. So it seems pretty clear they did not want people using modulated weaponry on Forge World units. So.
Well, specifically, which model, perhaps?
The Ivara.
Who has these two flamer weapons that do 3 flat damage?
Yeah, because you can do, I think it's if you overcharge, you can do up to 3d3 shots. And then, if it's a random heavy dice, if you play modulated weaponry, you just max that number out. So I have 9 auto hit, 3 damage flamer shots that Space Marines don't get armor saves against.
So they specifically changed that. Obviously, it's a good change.
Yeah. They altered the wording on cyclic ion blasters to kind of the new overcharge wording of if you roll a 1 while it's overcharged, you take a mortal wound instead of the bearer dying.
Yeah, instead of plasma gun rules.
Yeah. So they changed that. They changed the seismic fibrillator node. Yeah.
Fibrillator?
Yeah. The seismic vibrator node.
Yep.
So basically what they did is they changed it to where it excludes pile-in moves and consolidation moves, because it would be you would have to take a dangerous terrain check when you if you move near it, if you charge near it, if you piled in, and if you consolidated.
Because if you start or end any move within its radius, right? So that's in the movement phase, that can happen twice. In the assault phase, that can happen twice. When you pile in, that can happen twice. When you consolidate, that can happen twice, right? So that is a lot of. We talked about it. I was that's powerful. If you put it in the right situation, at the right time. I mean, you're rolling buckets of dice, killing off a unit. And so you said they took out pile in and consolidate from that equation?
Yeah.
Okay.
So no more dangerous terrain checks on the pile in or consolidate. And the other change was for guard. Actually, they had a blessed bolt gun relic, and they changed it to a bolt pistol. And
because you can't take it.
Well, so I didn't study the guard side of the greater good.
Hold on a second. Go back 1 second. On the updated wording about rolling mortal wounds, the chat's indicating that they've made it so that it's a max of 1 mortal wound when you roll it. Is that okay? So that way, every time you activate it,
that in the errata, but
what does it say in the errata?
It just says takes a mortal wound. Doesn't say a max of 1 mortal wound.
Takes a mortal wound.
For every hit roll of 1, the bearer's unit suffers a mortal wound after all this weapon's shots have been resolved. There's no maximum value anywhere.
Yes, and anytime that there's a rules debate in chat, that's the only time I jump in off a chat. Please continue.
Yeah, and I mean, I can pull up the ranged weapons thing. Here it is. Yeah, so it has to have been a typo, because I'm looking at the ranged weapons chart for Tau, and it says the exact same wording. So they may have had a typo, or they may have worded it wrong in the in the actual book, and they're just making sure that it's changed back to what it was. So maybe it was like a bad copy paste somewhere.
Dope.
And so Rob, you're saying that like this blessed bolt gun, like nobody could actually take it, and that's why
I don't think the Scion dude commander. I forget what they're called.
I thought most of them could, in fact, take a bolt gun instead of their las. I mean, like company commanders can.
You know, I don't know, Ralph. I just remember I was like, can I even take that? But I don't have anything to back it up. Andy.
Tempester Prime. Let me see.
Oh yeah, Tempester Prime. That's what they are.
So this used to be a bolt gun. Now it's a bolt pistol.
Yeah. So like it says the Tempester Prime can bolt pistol or plasma pistol.
Yeah. So they can't even take a bolt gun.
Yeah. Because like I didn't know.
Oh, that's why they changed it. They changed it because couldn't take it.
Because at first I thought this was just like something that like a company commander or somebody could take. And like I know they can take bolt guns, but if it's like Tempester Primes only, then that makes sense. Because we were looking at it and we thought that it was like, oh, this is like a 24-inch range bolt gun that can always target characters and strength 5 -2 for 2 and does an additional damage against psyker units. And I was like, I can see why they thought that might be too powerful and change it to a bolt pistol. But yeah, if he could only take a bolt pistol or a plasma pistol, that makes a lot more sense.
Indeed, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed run, you said?
Yeah, there was a thing where it says when you do the order of move, they count as advancing.
For the purpose of a certain regiment.
Yeah, wilderness survivors.
I'm not caught up enough on the intricacies
I think
of
that's
that.
one of like the Build-A-Bear traits for the Astra Militarum. And there may have been something that has to do with that and like an advance move. Because an advance is not a move. It's a separate rule entirely. So that's why a lot of those questions come up.
I got to follow up to our earlier discussion. Bleeze 420. If you roll one or more hit rolls of 1, the bearer's unit suffers a mortal wound after all the weapon shots have been resolved. This implies 1. Yeah, no, you're right. That's exactly how a lot of chaos stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot of chaos stuff is worded that way. So I've had to like discuss that. I've had to have like judges come over when I used to play Decimators, and they're like, I take mortal wounds when I roll ones. And they're like, oh, you just took like 3 mortal wounds. I was like, actually, it's worded like that. I only took 1. 1 or more, 1. It's based on activation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So the update is yes, like that.
Yeah.
So that FAQ straight nerfed the shit out of some people, huh?
not really.
If you just click the timestamp and you got to this part of the show after I trolled you.
Oh, are you gonna troll people with the timestamps?
It didn't change anything. It was well done. Good job, GW. Good FAQ. Kept it clean. You didn't fuck over anybody this time. But
we're watching you.
Yeah, we're watching you.
They're mostly okay.
I'm addicted to GW products, so like. Yeah.
You say that, but I just got a 3D printer.
Oh, you
pretty dope.
Oh, you're in? You're hooked? Wait till you see my next Titan Forge video.
Which one would you paint?
We'll see. There might be some some interesting video splicing, and you might see the model come to life. I don't know.
Oh, really?
You might see a time lapse occur.
Oh, did you start 3D printing too?
We'll see what happens.
You can just tell. It's fine. You can't keep secrets.
You can't say
I know,
Fabius Bile is for sure coming out. I'm not going to tell you this shit. If you say Fabius Bile is 100% coming out.
You can't keep a secret.
Yeah, he already told me. I'm just trying not to rain on his parade.
No, I'm not. I don't have a 3D printer.
See, I knew.
But my model is being 3D printed for me by Titan Forge, and they are time lapsing the footage of it being
that's dope.
Created for me.
Dude, I straight up like built, and Wyatt thinks I'm stupid. but I straight up built a carbon scrubber enclosure, like for the exhaust.
A carbon scrubber enclosure.
I did not think you were stupid. I asked you where your printer was, and I told you if it's not in a well-ventilated area, you might want to do that.
And then you said, I haven't turned it on yet because I'm afraid it smells bad. And we told you it doesn't smell bad.
Yeah, and then I called you a bitch.
Then we called you a bitch, yes.
Yeah, that sounds more accurate. But
yes. Did you post pictures of it?
I think I might have put some on Instagram. I'm not sure. I did a little. I took some pictures and some video of it for I'm going to do like a feature on it, of course, and then like full videos showing people how to do everything. Wyatt's been super helpful, like holding my hand like an old person. And
it was straight up like trying to tell your grandpa how the internet works.
I don't know if it was that bad, but
it was pretty bad.
I don't remember it that way.
I definitely remember that I told you all of this stuff and then you immediately forgot all of it. And I had to re-explain it to you the next day over 3 phone calls.
I took notes and I had screenshots.
Did you? Okay. Whenever you show Rob something, you have to screen share.
I did. I was.
Yeah.
I showed him how to do everything.
All right. Rob was having an off day.
Found out that they sent him this like different firmware printer or some shit, and that's why none of it was working.
No, they upgraded the firmware, so it's putting out a .pws and not .photon like you haven't updated your firmware, which is fine.
Well, I'm not going to because
I wouldn't. Yeah, because then you got to use another program. So basically we have to bounce through like 3 programs, which isn't a big deal because you really only need to use one unless you want to like add guides and supports and all that. And it's fine.
Who cares about adding supports and guides?
You definitely need those. You need those on a lot of things. You can't just print everything without supports.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's it's great. I got the new wash station, Anycubic, that actually came out like last week and I had pre-ordered it. And so it just like showed up and I was like, oh yeah, what's this? Oh, this was good timing. So it's
so you wash your models in a gasoline bath.
Yes.
And
then you set them on fire. And then you take them out and they're done.
I wish you would do a video of that.
I mean,
do you ever see that guy's videos on the internet where he's like, this is the correct way to do this? And it's always pour a bunch of gasoline on it and shoot it with a flare or some shit. You know what I'm talking about? You seen those videos?
Yeah. Like how to take out your cat litter.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one. I would love to see you do a video like that.
Yeah, no, it was good. So I got the regular Photon and printer and the wash station. It's dope. Wyatt's got the same one. He holds
I have like a jerry rigged. I have like a sonic cleaner, and then I have a nail salon UV box because they were on Amazon.
Oh yeah. That's what I had too, and then I'm gonna return them to Amazon, but I didn't say it out loud. But I got the wash station. But we have the same printer though, right? Yours just doesn't have the firmware update.
No, mine is the Photon S. So
you got the S?
Yeah.
Dang, you fancy.
I wanted the better one because I know how fast technology ages.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm going to learn on this. So wait, we can't actually share like files because yours
are... No, I can. I just can't share sliced files. And it wouldn't matter if I'm on the Photon S or the regular Photon because your firmware...
Oh, yeah. I would have to export them.
So, I mean, like, I can give you supported models that I've already supported. I can definitely send those to you, and you can just slice it in your machine. It's super easy.
Might have to do that.
For anybody listening, there is a lot of like hyperbole and misinformation about the 3D printing process with these resin printers. Like, trust me, like I actually held off on buying a printer for over a year because there's all these people on YouTube that were like, oh, it smells so bad. It gives off these toxic fumes and it's terrible. And I'll tell you, like, I've been using my printer a lot over the past like 4 months, and there's basically no smell. And unlike Rob, I have a fully functioning nose. So I can tell you, like, that is a huge like internet boogeyman that straight up does not exist. There's not a huge thing with like fumes or smell unless you have it in a non-aerated, very cramped room. So like if it's in your garage, or say like your living room area or a large bedroom or something, it's totally fine. If it's in a tiny little closet or like a very small little office, then yeah, you might want to find a way to aerate it a little bit.
Oh, wait, you're looking at my office when you said that?
Yeah, you should not use that in your office. There's not enough ventilation. But
I mean, he still smokes meth. I think he'll be fine.
Oh yeah, good point. He's fine.
Don't. I don't smoke meth. Bath salts are not meth.
I was at your house last month and I watched you smoke meth. You offered it and I politely declined.
Dude, smoke some crack with me.
Smoke this crack with me, bro.
I mean, it was pretty classy. He was like, could I interest you in some methamphetamines? And we were like, no, thanks.
No, thanks, weirdo. No, I built a carbon scrubber. I'm going to do a tutorial on how to do it. It's relatively simple for all of you people with no smell buds and or that are going to be next to your printer all day. Probably a bad idea to not do that.
And I think the S actually has built in that, like, he has a charcoal HEPA filters like built into the machine. Maybe the Photon doesn't.
It does not.
So that's probably why it's different. So like mine has dual fans with dual charcoal HEPA filters built into the machine.
Those you still have to like switch out from time to time though, right?
I guess it just depends on how much you use it.
Nope, you never have to switch them out. Ever.
Oh. All right.
Do the opposite of what he says. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So the idea is that I'm going to at least try to put out some videos that are more concise and full of, correct information and good how-tos and things, because there really is. I've watched a ton of these videos already, and I'm like, that doesn't even seem right. And then I'm asked why, and he's like, yeah, that's not a thing. I was like, that didn't sound good at all. And these videos have hundreds of thousands of plays. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on?
That's why you were having a fit last week when we talked about this. I see now. Because you watched those videos.
I did, and the information that I saw in a lot of cases was not what you've
experienced now.
Yeah. So I'm really glad I got my hands on it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of those people say that kind of stuff and be like super duper extra like hyperbolic about that kind of stuff because they don't want to be held liable.
That's true. Well, that's actually a lot of.
And it's like it made sense to me because like when I started actually 3D printing and I talked to a bunch of people in the community and they taught me the things that I taught you, I brought up the same thing. They're like, nah, that's all bullshit.
Yep. Makes sense. All right. So I think we covered as much news as we can tonight. And we don't have Haspil to take us out. So I'm going to call upon Rob to do the Dune. I need you to do the Dune quote about the fear is the mind killer. I need you to do that whole quote right now.
Oh, okay. Let me go look it up. I know what you're talking about though. I don't know it by heart.
You know it by heart as you Google it?
I don't know it by heart.
Nobody knows it by heart except fucking Haspil. Oh, and also PSA, keep your eyes on Adepticon's website to make sure that you're good to go. They've extended the cutoff date for refunds to I think the 20th is what we're hearing.
20th so far, yeah.
So that's obviously helps out big time if your job just hit you with you can't go, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely keep your eye on it. Coronavirus is happening. On the webcast, we go into a lot more detail on it, but we just wanted you to know right now that they did extend that. Understand that this is a bunch of stuff going on. They're going to do their best. We're friends with these guys. We hope that everything works out. So having said that, now there's context of what I want Rob to say in reference to staying safe during the coronavirus.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over and through me. And when it is gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its pass. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I remain.
And wash your fucking hands.